understand what I'm talking
Okay.
There's trumpets.
about. Yeah, it's like stages.
I went to CCD.
It's basically stages, right?
Okay.
So, first one is all like a third of all the trees and all the green grass catches on fire spontaneously, I think.
Okay.
Okay, and basically
If you don't marry the firebender, obviously.
Just a third, or like, does it spread to more than that?
no, I
It's a
think
burning bush situation.
I don't know. I don't think they thought about that. But
God, there's plot holes everywhere in this book.
yeah, but then after that, what happens is this is fiction now. Okay, well that's convoluted.
Well, here's the problem though, because I feel like if you do fiction in a religious sense, you're asking for it in a certain way.
But I like asking.
I know you like asking
Oh.
for it. So I mean, I could see doing something like that, but you'd have to. To me, skewing it so it's mass accepted would be a certain way to do it, but I would definitely make sure it still had certain tones. Because sometimes if you make something like that, you can either go, I want to really disrupt the establishment, or do I want to add my view? And to me, I've learned if you add, you can hook certain things. Like when I went to start doing a music thing for a nonprofit, I was kind of like told, hey, you can do this within this certain thing, but then I found like some events I had more control of because I was on a board. So the board would say, okay, we're picking these 3 ones, and the violinist sucked, and I knew no one would come to it, and I'm like, okay, listen, fine, you want to do it because it's your friend, good, let's do that. Great, I designed the cover, I did the press release, okay, next month, all right, this one was good. But then I got to the point where it's like, okay, I want to do the open mic. I want to have the punk band come and play in the middle of the gallery. And literally we had people fixing the paintings after they left. But my thing was to get, at least what I've experienced in certain sectors, is if you incorporate and then you disrupt just a little, it's way more fun. Because then you actually get them in the audience.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go out and you're like, hey, listen, this is what it's about.
Yeah.
You're going to get an immediate backlash. You want to get them in the seat. You want to get them in the experience. And then you want to just add that little switch that makes them say, what the hell just happened? Why am I in an art gallery and the paintings are shifting and there's a band playing Green Day? What the hell's going on here? And to me, that is way more valuable. So that would be my only thing I would say is if you're going to do something, when you're bringing in those connotations, that you stay true to a point.
Yeah.
That you make sure that they follow and you can get that group to say, okay, I'm going to give this a shot, and then you leave them with a twist. Kind of like the Da Vinci Code. Great movie, great book, great premise. Fucks you up at the end with the guy with the whip and the albino. But you wouldn't know where that's coming from, and it wouldn't have fit.
Well, to clarify a few things, first of
I don't know
all,
if I jumped on that, sorry.
no, it's fine. You're probably about 85% on correct. So to clarify a few things, the story wasn't supposed to be like anti-religion as much as it deals with those concepts and seemingly portrays them negatively. Second thing is the story is kind of anti-establishment by design.
You know what would be, I've experienced this, and this is something I experienced recently, and I think it might add to your story. Have you ever thought about doing it about a preacher?
No.
Because I learned that pastors, there's a lot of pastors that are popping up in Rhode Island, and a lot of them are Hispanic, but they say they're pastors. Oh, I have a card. I have this, a pastor, but I don't have a church. But then I went to some of them, and I listened to some of them, and some of them don't quote the Bible at all. Some of them don't say anything except, glory to be, glory to this, glory to that. But then they turn around in their houses, and they're the complete opposite. So I really think that I don't know if it's an idea you might want to consider saying or thinking about, but there's a lot of falsehood about it. So I don't know if there would be something you would portray it negatively or you could add in, because there is a lot of people that go around saying they believe something and then they don't actually do it.
I did have a bit of an idea like that. To get into it, do you know who Lilith is?
No.
One of the demons.
Yes. Oh. See, I don't like talking about the plot because it goes into like several directions at once. So, in a linear conversation, it's more confusing. Okay, but basically, I was thinking that after the first junket, the society in this world would be segmented into like two populations. One of them are like Abrahamic, and the other are anti. And the ones who are against them are like ruled by Lilith, and the ones who are for them are ruled by this guy who is kind of like the pastor guy you just described. Yeah. Oh, and what I was getting at was you said to portray a guy like that negatively. Did I understand?
Well, not negatively, but I was just saying you could add that in. Like the one I actually know actually has a radio show here in Providence. He legit has a fucking radio
Of
show.
course he does.
And it's like, but you don't quote the Bible at your actual church. Like,
Oh.
why?
Would it make you happy to know that Lilith is supposed to like take this guy's soul and then smash it against a wall?
Maybe. But yeah, I definitely would collaborate on songs for this. Absolutely.
Cool.
Um,
Would it change anything if the story is supposed to end with one of the main characters fighting God in a sword fight?
Is this actually?
She's excited.
You're excited about that?
Can it be a lightsaber?
Okay, so there is just. I think you get a lot of people that would show up for the lightsaber.
Exactly.
Chipmunk comes out of nowhere, shooting swords out of its mouth, you know.
Yes. No, you should. Yeah, I think that would be interesting.
Cool. What if he becomes God and then he creates a new universe and then fights God in his new universe?
Okay, now you're just getting all crazy.
I know. I know. I'm not thinking of this as I'm going.
No, you could take it and you could absolutely change it at the end. You could make it like I'd leave it open ended. Leave it open ended.
I don't want to leave it.
Why? Because then you drive everyone crazy for a sequel. Leave it open ended.
No, but I didn't want to make a sequel.
If you don't make a sequel, who cares? You leave them banging their heads.
I wanted it to be like a short story and then it
Oh.
ends pretty conclusively.
You would do a short story musical.
I don't want. This is the musical I was talking
Okay,
about.
music.
Do you want to eventually turn this into something you could make money off of?
Yes.
Sequels. What the hell?
Yeah, come on.
If you write a short story that wraps up perfectly, it's just a little bite-sized thing that people can eat and take away with and not be left wanting more.
I didn't mean short.
Okay,
I
fine,
guess
a
it
story.
doesn't matter
I said the wrong
length.
word.
If you wrap it up, that's it. It's done.
The
Well, yeah,
best
but-
plays leave it, or short stories leave it open.
But
Because think about it.
I'm not.
Think about any
I don't
book.
work at Ubisoft.
It doesn't matter if you don't work at that. Any book, any story that leaves it open ended makes it that much more enticing.
But it's not.
Even if you don't end it on an actual plot, even if you just end it on a question, because then you're leaving the audience with a question. You could make the question what sums up everything you presented to them. Then they have to go out and evaluate it, and then they have something to take away from it.
Okay, yeah, but like I didn't want to leave. Well, yes. Do I want to leave the audience with questions? Yes, but I didn't want the plot to end like kind of cliffhanger, open-ended, like you're saying. What
But
I-
it might be something to consider, because then you leave them all aggravated.
Okay, yeah, but like when I actually do write this, which I somehow remember the whole plot, even though I've only written about 2 paragraphs.
That's a good idea, then. You should write it all down.
Yeah, but that's kind of hard in like one Word document. Okay.
Or do it down.
No, because it's not supposed to be a linear like thing.
So have it jump.
What?
Have it jump. You create a
Just letting
transition.
everyone know we gotta start cleaning up in 5.
Have you ever heard? I forget the name of the book actually. It's like Every Soul a Star. The plot of the book does not matter at all, but it's set up like the first chapter is one person telling how their story starts. The second chapter is like another person telling how their story starts, and then as it goes, it just like cycles through 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and then it like
All the Percy Jackson books are like that too.
No,
I didn't know that.
They're all
I have never
Percy-
read those
They all
books.
follow Percy, like in first person.
The point is,
I
I'm
got
saying you
those a
could
while
do
ago.
something like that where it starts off like telling.
Oh, I forgot to mention. I wanted to go buy a visual medium.
Visual medium.
Yeah, comic or something.
I mean, that could still work as a time jump sort of thing, you know. And it would be from what you said, like it going in a bunch of different directions all at once. I think that would be a good formula to use because you could focus on 4-8 different stories at once. You know.
I know, but I throw information at people. That's how I write.
Okay, I mean you do you. I'm just
Okay.
suggesting.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
The first two were in Percy's perspective. After that, like every chapter was like Annabelle, the Child of Hades, everybody's name.
I don't remember that. I read those books. I don't remember that.
It was like the only book series that I read. That was it.
One of them is
Well, if it was the only book series I read, I think I would know too.
Exactly.
Exactly.